Are you serious? Are you serious? Thank you for being a member of Patreon. Thank you. Your support is helping us share the gospel of Jesus Christ around the world. We're using television ministry now 3 nights a week. We are on a national broadcast across the nation on DirecTV. You can find us on Sunday nights on World Harvest Television, on Monday night on GEB Television, and on Saturday nights on NRB TV. And those are all across the country on DirecTV. Plus, we're on 17 local channels during the week. Thank you, because this Patreon channel is paying about 65% of that total cost and keeping us able to reach many people by television in these end times. Now, here's the situation going on. Saudi Arabia. We have a report very rarely. I mean, Alex Jones and some of the other folks brought this forward so many years ago that the United States government was involved in somehow in the 9/11. Even Jonathan Cahn, in his book, The Harbinger, brought forth some unbelievable comparisons of biblical prophecy to the 9/11 attack. Well, now in a very rare admission, first time I've ever seen it, Fox News and Tucker Carlson did a segment linking Saudi Arabia to 9/11 and questions of why all those years since the Bush administration, why did George W. Bush attack Saddam Hussein when it was Osama bin Laden and the Saudi Arabians who actually were connected to the attack? And then we went to Afghanistan. People have always wondered. Let me play for you a little bit of Tucker Carlson and this report. Are you serious?
Well, after 18 years of war, you'd think the United States would be finally winding down its presence in the Persian Gulf. Instead, the opposite appears to be happening. At times, we seem to be on the brink of bombing Iran. Now, why are we doing that? Well, we're doing it primarily to protect Saudi Arabia. In Washington, the Saudis are overwhelmingly considered by both parties to be one of our closest allies. The strange thing is that Saudi Arabia has far closer links to the 9/11 attacks than Saddam Hussein ever did, much less Iran. We're always hearing about Iran. Iran had nothing to do with 9/11. Saudi Arabia, meanwhile, was so connected to 9/11 that the families of many 9/11 victims are seeking justice, payment, as recompense for the Saudis' role. So how exactly does the country and its government get to ignore this? And what is the nature of America's relationship with Saudi Arabia? We decided to take a closer look at that question.
And when Tucker began to look at this question a little deeper, we found out some things that in a heavily redacted 2012 government report describing the support of Saudi government officials gave to 2 hijackers after they arrived in Los Angeles. The officials gave the 2 Al-Qaeda members assistance in daily activities, according to Tucker Carlson at Fox News. The Fox host also made reference to a sworn testimony by a high-ranking FBI agent, very privy to the investigation, who admitted that the hijackers would have had zero chance for success without the support structure waiting for them here in the United States of America. The families still want to know more information of this declassified about Saudi involvement and feel as if their own government may have betrayed them, according to Tucker Carlson. Relative of the 9/11 victims, Brett Eagleson, said that during the segment, he said one would like to think that the FBI works for the American people, but not the interests of the Saudi Arabians. Yet Carlson added shockingly as part of his report that shortly after the 9/11 attacks, President George Bush's administration shut down all planes in the sky across America, except he allowed hundreds of the Saudi Arabians, including members of Osama bin Laden's personal family, to leave the country on chartered airplanes. Why? Wouldn't you be interrogating them to find out the exact location of Osama bin Laden? I've often wondered, why did Bush do this? And 2 years ago, folks, we're still looking for the answers. And the Trump administration is still seeking the truth from some of these hidden documents. Well, we'll continue to keep an eye on that. I want to thank you for joining me here on Patreon, and we'll continue to, this is where I can bring some stuff up that I can't on the main channels. But thank you for being with us. Pray for this country. What is this all about? What is this truly? What was it all about? 9/11. Pray for the families who lost so many of their family members and lives that were killed in 9/11. And then the countless thousands of soldiers who died fighting what President Trump calls now a needless war in Iraq. And tonight the president is pulling his troops out of Syria. After crushing ISIS, it's time to get our guys out of there. Because why should we stay around and watch a tribal wars between Turkey and Syria and Iraq and the Kurds who've been fighting with each other for centuries? I don't think you can teach an old dog new tricks over there. Give your life to Jesus Christ. We're running out of time. Thank you for being a member of Patreon.